Hello everyone. Welcome back to Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy, powered by Planetgreen, Natura, a new beginning to your life. On today's episode of Datescounty Nature's Tycoon, I have with me a seasoned real estate professional with over a decade of experience. He endeavors to create green eco habitats that connect people with nature. He's the founder of Planet Green Infrastructures, sustainable ecosystems and sustainable housing via real estate firm Planet Green Ventures. You all must know that he has been our supporter and powered by sponsor from the very first episode of this show, who believed in our vision of creating awareness about sustainability. Let's welcome Vinay Ram on my show. Welcome to my show, Vinay Garu. I've been waiting and wanting to talk to you because you've been our supporter, a sponsor from the very first day we started this venture. So finally, you're here. Thank you again.
Thank you for inviting, and as well as, yeah, it's been long time that we want to do it, but then, as things are moving, and as you've been interviewing a lot of people,
Yes.
what I've realized is, okay, there are a lot of people who are actually working on this,
Right.
so who have these kind of mindsets, and so who are working on sustainability and all, and it's wonderful initiative by you, and it's very nice to be, be part of it, so we'll be happy about it.
Thank you. Honor is ours too.
Yeah.
So, Vinay Garu, Planet Green. What was the vision behind it? How did this idea emerge? And what is that you want to offer through your projects?
It's all started when way back in about 2014, 15, sometime like that. I wanted to become an entrepreneur.
Okay.
That when the journey started, we were thinking, okay, no, it has to be something different. It definitely cannot be what we've been doing it, because I had an exposure of close to about 14, 15 years exposure in real estate.
Oh, much before this project.
Yes.
Okay.
So then I had to start from there again, but then it has to be different.
Yes.
So that was the main reason. So then it
Wow,
was
this
more
is
on
very interesting to
yeah.
me.
So that then we were only thinking about, okay, how can we come with an idea where it will be very sustainable, which is very eco-friendly, and then more on this green and environment. So that was the main trigger. So that's where we started from.
Okay.
So now, right now, Planet Green, when we have started, so we have started, me and Prasanna, our co-founder,
We met.
and
We met
we
Prasanna
met,
Garu.
yeah, and Mr. Koteshwara Garu, who is also my guru, and my friend, one more, Mr. Ramesh Naidu. So we all
Okay.
started. So we pulled all of them to, okay, how do we start now, and what do we do all that? So when we have we have started with, again, real estate sector.
Okay.
So then we wanted to be very sure that it has to be an eco-friendly and caters a lifestyle which is very close to nature. So, and any business should serve a higher societal purpose. So that was very clear.
Yeah.
So the purpose is the purpose of our organization, the Planet Green, is how we can impact human life with nature.
Okay.
So that's the whole purpose of our organization. So that is where we started.
It is so important by what you said. Every entrepreneur should have a conscious mind to be ecologically, conscious, along with planning economy in that same framework.
Yes.
Right. And I've been associated with you for so many years now, and I know that you have a very strong philosophy, like what you just mentioned. How do you instill this into your team so this philosophy can go forward in the future without being, disturbed?
Yeah, that's the big challenge for all the entrepreneurs, in fact. So there are certain practices that we do. Like, first thing is we made everybody party to this particular purpose. Like, say, first we should own their dreams.
You should own
Their dreams.
dreams. Okay.
Because they will have their own kind of lifestyle, their own dreams, set of goals, and all that, right?
Okay.
So when we, right from the hiring, so on the interview table, we understand what is their appetite. So what is they're looking for, and are there having this certain mindset which falls into our purpose, and at the same time, what is they're expecting out of this job, or this journey. So we make sure that we understand to the core, more than qualification and then experience. We more concentrate on what is their appetite and the eye for this. So once we understand their intentions are good, then the next thing is, okay, how do we now make them part of our whole purpose, like whole journey. So as an organization, we must make sure that their dreams are taken care, because it's all togetherness, right? So we should make sure that their dreams are also owned, so that we can make things better.
So, Vinay, what all areas do you work under? Like when it comes to eco-friendly, I mean, I know you're into real estate, housing, farming, and many more. So, can you elaborate?
We basically there are two categories. So we are like in terms of creating an impact on human life. So there are two areas we're working on. One is creating eco-friendly habitats, which is like creating an eco-friendly residential communities. Where it is very close to nature, taking care of a lot of stuff in that, and making sure that it will be a really eco-friendly habitat. That is one aspect. And the second thing is farming-based communities, where the core focus will be on more on farming. And we're also doing called Veda Bharat, that is separately a different entity altogether. So where we grow indigenous rice varieties and all that.
I've tasted and they're so amazing.
Yeah, they are. So, and very nutritious. And,
and all, indigenous, but most of them are extinct is what you said.
Yes.
We'll come to that later, but please go ahead.
So right now we're doing a project of 300 acres.
This is the farming community?
No, that is on the eco-friendly residential community.
Residential, okay.
Yeah. So close to about 300 acres. It is right now we started as a plotting project, but we'll have housing also eventually over a period of the time. So right now we have like how the project is shaping up is like we've made sure that all the native trees which are there, part of the 300 acres, are retained.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so literally we went by foot, understanding the total contour and marking each tree, so not to chop it off, so
that's brilliant.
Yeah, so right now we have retained about close to 3,000 trees.
Wow.
And parallelly, because in the name of development, we should not be disturbing something. So to compensate, so we're also growing close to about 30,000 trees. So the trees are already been growing for last 7 years. So the trees are 30,000.
You're a father of 30,000 trees. How amazing is that feeling?
Yeah. So it is very good. Yeah, there are about 6 families who take care of all those things. So we have this 30,000 trees are meant for that particular project. So means by the time once we complete the project, say once we have about say 3,000 families, so they will be having close to about 33,000 trees. So surrounded, with and we made sure that all the contours are retained. There are water streams that are retained.
Oh, really? Water streams too?
Yeah. There are water streams. I think maybe close to about 1.4 to 1.5 kilometers.
Wow. Did it make any economical sense by doing this?
It has actually costed us more than 8 crores of change. I mean, to retain it.
Yeah, I can
just
imagine.
to retain it. So we had an option, but then we wanted to retain to make sure, because we fall into the category of this thing. So yeah, it is a decision, especially when as you mentioned, like economics, dynamics, they are important. At the same time, the world now is surviving on 1% of water. So if you are not bothered about it, then if you are not able to take care of those things, we will not be able to do anything beyond. So
absolutely, and it will stare at you in the future.
Yeah. So it's hardly 1% of the water in the world today. The whole world
lives on 1% of water.
So it is quite scary, right? So and your groundwater level is 0.3%. So it's hardly
depleting at a rapid speed.
So, and yeah, when it comes to this project itself, like we had an option again, when the architects come and then when the contractors come, they always tell us like, okay, let's put a polyethylene, that sheet below that, so that only then the water can be handled and all that. And I said, no, we should not be doing it. Let it sink into it. Let it seep into the ground. No problem. So, because it has to be seeped into the water.
That's
so
a
into
natural
the natural
process.
regenerance, right? So yeah, like that. So this residential project is what we're doing right now, and whatever housing that also we're doing, we have architects from Kerala like Biju Balan. We have in-house architects who are fire designers and all that, theaters and all. We made sure that all their design philosophy fall into this category.
Absolutely.
So, and we're giving multiple parks, almost close to about 15, 20 parks you will have it in it, each community, and there are multiple segments, multiple zones and all that.
Okay.
Also a temple zone, like, everything.
Yeah, if you have a community, you need all of these.
Yeah, all of this, yeah, because nature, like how we can create impact in human life when it comes to living, is like they have to be triggered with all these thoughts. So only then they will have a feeling of living. Otherwise, it'll be just like, okay, working and then staying in a four walls and
right.
yeah.
Wow.
So
and that's the second project, and Veda Bharat.
Also into the farming communities, as I said, which farm natura and all that.
Yes.
So where because farming is something which helps us learn about the life.
True.
It takes us very close to the earth, and it teaches us patience. If we have to do something to the kids, we have to actually teach them about farming and all that, because they will start respecting, the reptiles like snakes and.
Yeah, you will learn to live with them as part of your life. Yeah, right.
So it teaches us patience, not to expect too much, and taking risks. So, and you expect so much and do a lot of hard work, but one climatical change can change your yielding.
Or the uncertainty, living with uncertainty, but still putting your 100%.
Putting your 100% and effort, yeah. So all these things, that's the best personality development, right?
Wow.
For a class.
What you said is absolutely right. Because there's one papaya tree in my house. I keep posting about that.
Okay.
And the flowering starts, I think, in the month of November or something. I'll be waiting. Now, February or March, actual papaya comes to my hand. So that 3 months of watching the flower turn into fruit and then become big. So that whole process of waiting is actually beautiful.
Yeah.
Teaches you patience, like you rightly said.
Because that's when we also see some customers who come there, and they're always worried about the weed and how things are happening, because they all have the mind will be always on something like a garden, so
very manicured, trimmed and
trimmed and all that. So, but when it comes to weed, in fact, that's the natural plant of that particular location.
Right? And it also retains moisture.
Yeah, everything.
Not wrong.
Yeah. So, in fact, the weed is something which is very natural plant of that particular soil and location.
Right.
So now we bring an alien and then want to put it, and we want our alien to grow fast.
Right.
So
that's nicely said.
Yeah. So because it needs to take its own time to create that symbiosis and getting correlated on getting relation with the native varieties of plants and
variety
all
that you plant.
Yeah. So it's like creating a symbiosis between the plants
friendship.
And all that. Yeah.
Okay.
So we took up natural farming as one of the major step or major process, because we firmly believe in natural farming, because that is the only solution that we find which will help the environment and the farmer and also the consumer who is eating it.
Right.
So that's the concept of farm natural, where what are these farming communities, whatever that we're developing, and now we're also coming up with something called Greenland Capital.
Okay.
So
it'll be a future project.
Yeah, that's a future project, close to about 900 acres. So again, the concept is very simple: soil, organic, and water.
Wow.
So
All super important.
SOW. So it's like so, right? So we make sure that the land gets converted into natural farming, so that which is very good for all these three.
Correct.
So that is about farming communities.
Okay.
So we have something close to Hyderabad, which is about 70 acres right now, and
Okay.
we're in the process of acquisition further. And now coming back to Ved Bharat, which is our core purpose of our organization.
So before that, I want you to break this myth,
Yes.
because I've spoken to few people and then they say rice is the biggest culprit and it is the reason why India is going towards first, I think ranking first in diabetic patients, and that's all polished. But then the rice you talk about is highly nutritious. So I want you to break the myth, and what is that you're doing differently with Veda Bharat is what you can elaborate upon.
Sure. So, Veda Bharat, I first talk about the initiative how we have taken.
Okay.
So, around 2017, we, about me, Prasanna, and all our other colleagues, about 5 members team, or close to 7 members team,
Okay.
we went and attended a program conducted by Mr. Vinay Ram, who is a natural farming pioneer in Hyderabad. So that was done in Chinnajayar Swami Ashram, where Mr. Venkaya Naidu came also at the last on the last day. It was a 9 days program, very well conducted. It was all on farming, especially on the natural farming, and there were more than 2,000 farmers have attended the program.
Is it a residential kind of a
It
program?
was a residential program, yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
they were given food, breakfast, lunch, I mean everything, and
2,000 farmers.
2,000 farmers. It was a very big program, very well conducted. But the sad part, what we understood was what we have learned from there, or what we observed after all the program. So when all the farmers were asked, like say, they wanted to give us the seeds, natural farming seeds. So when they wanted to give the seeds, they invited the farmers to come onto the dais to collect those seeds to go and see to the farming. Out of 2,000 farmers, hardly 200 could come forward to take the seeds.
Why is that?
Because the reason is very simple: it is not viable. See, a farmer who is able to get about 45 bags in 1 acre, if we tell him like you're going to get about 18 bags beginning and 20 to 25 bags
I would
max.
take a back step too, naturally.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Because they have a challenge about, okay, one is they're adapting to this process. There's a lot of tedious job, lot of involvement is required.
Correct.
And it's a new thing for them, because the India has left about 60 years back, it has left its process. Right after Green Revolution, they've left this process.
Right.
So now everything now they have to learn, and they have to put the efforts.
Correct.
And it needs a cow. It's a process. So there are a lot of ifs and buts, and after doing all that, they again have to go and again sell it outside. So they don't know how to sell it, where to sell it, because it has its own challenges, as we know.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what the trigger that we took it from there. So after 9 days of workshop, there's hardly 10% who are able to put a step forward. And then again, from them also we have observed, because we took the seeds that time itself and we started farming.
Okay.
We started with 12 acres. Now we're doing close to about 600 acres.
Wow.
In Andhra, and in Telangana we're close to doing about 200 acres. And now we want to increase it further. So yeah, when we took that seeds and when we observed others, those who have started doing farming, they also stopped doing after 1 year or so.
Oh, they couldn't sustain.
Yeah, they couldn't sustain. So that's what we found as an opportunity, because it's a difficult part.
Correct.
So, and today, out of 60% of land which is cultivatable land in India, it's only 1.2% is organic.
Yes.
And today, all of us want to eat organic.
Yeah, there is demand, but there's nobody to really grow
it. So that's when we thought, okay, now if we take up this and then start doing it, and convert the land into organic, globally certified organic, then there's a huge demand going forward.
Correct.
So make sure that we need to create a huge team for it.
That's right.
And convert the land as much as possible, and educate the farmers. Beyond all that, we have to make it viable for the farmer.
That's right.
So
That's
today,
the main actually point
yes,
to be
that's the main
addressed.
point. That's a major point, because once we are able to say that, hey, I'm here to,
then they are willing to put in the effort.
they will, yeah. So now, in about 17 villages, close to about 130 farmers who are doing this now.
Wow, from under
From
your
Veda Bharat, yeah.
Oh wow,
So,
that's brilliant. And this happened in how many years?
It's about 4.5 years now, 4-5 years, yeah.
That's a great progress. So you see a lot of demand for organic, not just in India, even outside.
Yeah,
to scale this up, I'm saying.
Of course, because in US now, 1 kilo of organic rice is about $8. And if we are able to give $1.50 to our farmer,
he'll be the happiest.
He'll be the happiest person.
Right.
So now the person, the people who are going to do it from here, or who's going to export from here, or somebody who's going to do there, will have $6.50 as a delta. Right?
Okay, right.
So there is a lot of scope, a lot of possibility, because now in India also, like if you see like big hotels like Park Hyatt or Sheraton and all that, they all are getting imported rice from Thailand,
yes, of
and
course.
Philippines, all that. So there was, because we went for a dinner, so then I asked, because we are on to this, so
yes, of course.
asked the chef to get the rice packet. So it was triple head Ganesha.
Okay.
You know what? It is per kilo, it was 1800.
Indian rupees?
1800, yeah, Indian rupees. So I took the sample and I went to our team and I showed this rice. I said, what is this rice? They said, sir, this is our Indrani.
Oh. It's the branding and the packaging, and once it sits on the flight.
Yes. Yeah, you might need a bit more process that has to be, it has to go in, maybe, Yeah. So that's it.
Right.
So that means there is a huge scope and possibility.
Right.
Yeah. Coming back to our indigenous varieties.
Yes,
Yeah. Because the reason why we chose indigenous varieties, first of all, there are two myths, in fact, not just one myth. Because the first myth is about the rice or the wheat, both.
Yeah, now
as an Indian,
also.
Yeah, as an Indian, this thing, and where it is causing a lot of this diabetic and all that. The major difference here is the food should give you energy.
That's right.
It should not make you mild.
Right.
So the rice, or people who are eating rice or wheat, it is actually meant for somebody who wants to work well, who wants to work hard. Physically, who should be involved, may not be in the physical activity like day-to-day workers and all that, but otherwise it should give us a positive energy where we wanted to even do some exercise, wanted to do some activity, we want to be happy with playing with children, or we want to have some more patience with your spouse or family or somebody. For all that, it's an energy.
Right. The right energy.
Right energy. And all these indigenous varieties will stimulate will give you, actually, it pump in your glucose in a very slow process, in a slow manner.
Doesn't spike.
Doesn't spike up quickly. But whereas now the genetically modified seeds, what today everybody is in India who is using and eating and growing and all that. So today what the challenge is, a 60-year-old or a 20-year-old or the kid of us, everybody is eating same rice.
Correct.
But whereas in indigenous seeds, you have certain varieties which are to be eaten by children, some for the female, some rice varieties which are meant only for the elders.
Okay.
So it has different gradients, and it has different seeds.
Wow.
So in India, we used to have about close to 4 lakhs indigenous seeds of rice.
4 lakhs, just the rice?
Just rice.
I never heard this figure ever before. 4 lakhs?
4 lakh seeds.
Wow, I was wondering if I heard that right.
Yeah. So now there is one Mr. Deval Dev, who's doing a great job. So I'll also talk about him. So he is right now who is having about close to about 1400 seeds of indigenous varieties.
Okay. He's retained all of them.
He's retained. He's doing a lot of culture. I mean, he's decoding all through his own lab.
Okay.
Because all the universities in India, they have denied. So he's started doing his own work.
Wow.
Because why he's doing that? Why he wants to do that work is to make sure that indigenous varieties are not patented by other countries.
Okay.
So he's doing phenomenal job on that work, because there has to be some paper, some evidence before somebody. I mean, if there is any paper on any seed, so it cannot be patented.
Right.
So now in our indigenous varieties also, we have multiple varieties where it can yield the results, whatever the yielding in the high yielding varieties are there. There are some seeds in India where it can yield the same level of what the chemical seeds are are capable of.
Okay.
But just that these seeds are not available, so the farmers are not given on these seeds. So now the huge funding is happening on the seeds. The huge funding is happening on chemicals funded by government.
Yes.
By in the name of support. So in fact, I think government should work more on making sure that there are enough marketeers or the entrepreneurship developers in agriculture where the exports quality and the people who are, they make a business model out of it.
Right.
So.
And we have so much in our country to revive and like offer to the world.
Yes. So India is a country where we have multiple cultures of soil.
Right.
Across the world, whichever the fruit or seed or whatever that we want to get it, you can get in
grow
India.
in India.
You can grow in India.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as a percentage of land, India right now we have close to about 60% of land. Precisely, if you say 53% of Indian land today is cultivatable land, which is way beyond US or China.
The percentage, if you look at the percentage. Okay.
So, and then we have a direct economy, depending on about close to 60% of the direct people who will be working on agriculture.
Absolutely.
So that is the area where more entrepreneurship should
happen. That's rightly said.
Yeah. So we should find out, the reasonable markets across the globe.
Right.
So then India will become much more better and great power.
I won't agree more. Yeah. So cows, I've seen on most of your projects, I've seen desi cows, and I also know cow has been an integral part of agriculture from thousands of years. What is the connect between the cows and cultivating of the land?
Yeah, we have a Goshala. We have close to about 53 or 54 cows now.
Beautiful Goshala with the Kishanji in the middle. I saw that. Yes. It was beautiful.
So we have almost 7 Indian varieties of cows there. So it's a direct connection between soil and cow. A cow dung and urine are the main products of the cow, which would help the earth to regenerate. Right. It stimulates, the earthworms which are there in earth, which are in coma state, which will come about 15 foot above.
Once this is used in the soil.
Yeah. So, say one portion of cow dung can make about 16 square foot of land fertile.
Oh, say that again?
One portion of cow dung. Say, okay. So that will make about 16 square foot of the land fertile.
Okay.
So that's how all our Indian mythology, all our Indian, itihasas. So all they talk about, or all the Puranas they talk about, cow is God. Because the reason why we say it, because that's how they wanted to teach the people about the science behind it.
It nourishes the soil, in turn soil nourishes you with food.
Yes, because it's the major contributor to keep the soil, organisms of the soil intact, alive. Okay. So it regenerates the soil. So and that is how the cow is so important. That's how we in our culture, the cow, everybody wants to bow culture behind, backside. Yes. They touch the backside of the cow, and is the reason because they don't touch because of milk. They touch because of the
dung and the urine of the cow.
Because Now, from the 1960s, like when the Green Revolution started, whenever this party panta, like whenever this happened, when this happened where the cow went away from the farming.
Right.
So that's when our farmers are facing a lot of issues.
Yes.
So now to grow it or to regenerate the soil or to they have to put a lot of chemicals. They are now using a lot of chemicals, but that has been another myth. Like say,
but over a period of time, too much chemicals are killing the microorganisms in the soil.
Completely.
So there's no rejuvenation happening at
completely. There is nothing happening with the chemicals.
all. So now, after a few decades, it's it's hitting us in the face.
Yeah, it's a consciousness again coming back.
Coming back.
So now people are changing. So now a lot of farmers are realizing themselves that whatever they're doing is not good.
Right.
So a lot of farmers, though they do chemical farming, a portion of it they're growing again separately for their internal use, for their own family use.
They understood.
They understood there's a lot of chemical and it is not going to take anyway. So just that they don't have a solution in comparison with the yielding. That's why they're doing it. Right. So now we're doing this R&D parallelly. So about what are the high yielding varieties and where is the market? How do we make sure? So today we are able to give a farmer who is growing about 18 to 20 packets, whoever is growing the rice. So we are giving them about 45 packets of money that we're giving.
You're giving more?
We're giving, like say, a farmer who is growing about 20 bags.
Okay.
He's now is getting a value which is 45 bags of it.
Okay.
So we kind of worked out a solution like that. Wow. So that means he is now profitable. Like say, in general, if his profit is about 5 to about 7,000 per acre right now, after all his investment on the chemicals, after doing all his work, so now his profit range has gone up by 26,000 to 27,000.
That's a huge.
Yeah, it's a huge. So now they are very happy. So now this year we want to cross beyond 1,000 acres.
Wow.
So now it's time for us, because all these years we've been procuring and securing the grain, and as well as also doing the research and development on the seeds. Also we've been harvesting all this rice. Okay. So last 1 year we started giving it to Tirupati, TTD, because they have taken the initiative of changing the Naivedyam of Lord Venkateshwara from chemical rice to natural and cow.
That is such a beautiful thing that you share.
Yeah, so our first money that we got from TTD.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's a huge change,
Yes.
Lord Venkateshwara will be super happy.
So now it is happening now. So a lot of people are coming forward to do it now.
Okay.
So one of my friends who had issue with his health and all that, he's been using this rice. So, and he comes to Hyderabad for checkup. So the doctor was asking, so what is the change that you had in your food?
This is a case study, right?
It's a case study. So she wants to give her bite now about the changes that she observed in him just because of the change in the rice. There is a rice called Raktashali.
So this rice you're talking about, it's not highly processed, but it's not processed, highly processed.
It is not, I mean, if you want more fiber, you don't have to take that polish too much.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only difference. Otherwise, the advantage of indigenous seeds are meant for each seed variety has its own name, which generally signifies what is the ingredient of it.
Okay.
What it is meant for.
Okay.
So even Mr. Puri Jagannath, there was somebody who was talking about the other director.
Okay.
So he gave something called about on the Raj Bhog. All the film industry wants to eat Raj Bhog.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, organic farming is great. If the yield is like the way it is right now, I think people can embrace it. But we're also seeing this biggest problem of soil degradation across the country, and the percentages are very high. So what, according to you, every farmer can easily do to revive the health of the soil without compromising on the yield or the production?
The first thing is the problem of monocropping.
Monocropping, okay.
We have to immediately stop doing monocropping. It's more of agroforestry. It is more of agroecology, right?
Yes.
Where we always have to go with multiple crops and multiple. There has to be crop rotation. There has to be pulses, hills. I mean, you have to make sure that they don't only do only one crop.
Right.
And now in our all our farmlands right now, what we're doing, we're also making sure that majority of the farmland is covered with the multi-layer farming, 5 layers garden.
Okay.
So generally, monocropping is not just on like say, you know, uh, only on the paddy or not just on that. Even if you see a mango garden or a orange or a lemon,
Okay.
so all this. Um, it has been the phenomena after this 1960, like after this Green Revolution. So right now the 5 layer means like you can go with the mango, banana, and also you can go with moringa. You can go with multiple things in the same land.
Okay. But mango stays on for long, so you can have these crops around the
Yeah,
trees?
I mean
Okay.
that's how like say every 3 meters you can have one.
Okay.
Every 15 meters, because the mango will generally will be done in about 30 meters, sometimes 15 meters. Now that there are draft varieties which are coming up in very lesser space.
Correct.
But
Yes.
even then it's mandate because it is good for the pollination, it is good for multi-species and ecology, and because it all depends on when you create a symbiosis between the plants and trees, it grows as a nice culture. So that actually helps the soil to regenerate.
Yes.
So it can retain more water, it can have multiple organisms, and multiple birds they will come.
Yes.
So
The whole ecology
will be developed,
kind of balanced in a way.
balanced. So that's how there'll be more nourishment happens.
And also, even when it comes to economics, also I think the farmer can earn a lot more than what he
Yes.
is already earning.
Yes.
Unless that incentive is there, we probably cannot ask the farmer to do all of this.
Yes. That's
Okay.
true, pretty much true. So, all these farmers now are to be encouraged.
Yes.
Now they are to be given multiple models and successful stories.
Yes.
So they are already happening. So
even the
there's a huge
FPOs
change
are also
happening.
coming up with
Very
great
well.
stories,
Yes.
right? Okay.
And a lot of entrepreneurship is also happening towards agri-based technology, and be it be drones or be it be multiple applications that are being developed.
Okay.
And also on the farming side, even there are somebody who's well educated also. They're taking up this as an advantage because that's what the future is.
Yes. Do you also have interns, or do you incubate young entrepreneurs who wants to learn, and do they have opportunities with you or otherwise?
We want to do it now because now it has reached a scale. Now already we already have agriculture BSc team and all that. Now our team also, now we're developing in R&D in terms of multiple seasons, multiple crops, multiple seeds, multiple plantations, multi-layer farming. All these things now are happening. So it is all about how best, what is the best model for a farm to be more profitable, more viable for the farmer.
Right.
So now as a further to this, I mean, we wanted to also make sure that we, like people like Dev, like I was talking about, they are to be funded. They are to be they are to be given a hand where all these Indian science of agriculture, because I don't want to talk anything negative about some institutions already there, but there are some things which they are missing.
Okay.
So now from the Indian soil, like so from Indian agriculture, or who are the farmers who are doing it, so if they are given enough support, they will come out with multiple options.
Okay.
So now that incubation, now we want to do it.
Okay.
So that is the area now we are working on, about creating a very good model. So the farmer, because every farmer we see as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
because you see a lot of entrepreneurship comes from agriculture families.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, because
Yes, we interviewed another person this morning,
okay,
Ramasubba Reddy Garu.
okay,
He revolutionized millets.
oh yeah, okay,
So he was talking about the same thing actually.
yeah. So because agriculture is something, as we discussed, so that's a real entrepreneurship, right? So you know there is a risk,
Yes.
you know you need funding,
Right.
and you know you do something, and then you also wait for the opportunity and then do it, and
Right.
whether it flies or not, again you're ready again
You
next
have
time.
to, yeah. There's no stopping.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What is your idea of sustainability and how do you implement in your personal life?
So in our when I say me, because first of all we've changed the lifestyle of food and all that. Now we're encouraging, say we close to about now 70 to 80 members of our team now. So now everybody of us now is saying no to polythene.
Okay.
So now um, hardly we allow even whoever visits our site. At the beginning of the entrance itself, the security will check the cars whether they're carrying any polythene, and we say we say not to bring in, and then, yeah. So
okay.
And especially in terms of food, there are multiple grains and there are multiple vegetables and multiple things are there. So instead of depending on only on one thing, because that also helps the farmer to grow, where the market for farmers also will increase.
Okay.
Because if we are eating, as you asked me, like if we are eating more rice, then they generally grow more rice.
Yes,
So,
yeah, so they go according to the demand.
Demand.
Right?
So if our in India, if our the food habits are changed towards better nutrition values and all that, instead of depending on only on that, so where it is good for the person who is eating, and also the person, it is also good for farmers and also economy, everything.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation for everyone.
For everything. Now in our farming team also, like say in our farming team, they also are taught about how the food has to be served, to how they have to change their own lifestyle to.
So this is also part and
Part of,
parcel.
yeah. So yeah, internally this is what we are able to do it.
Okay.
So now the next level, now our farmers who are now is growing now farmers. So now the farmers are also, we are encouraging them. This is the problem. You know, whenever we see somebody is carrying a polythene, somebody is not doing this, somebody, we always, that's a regular correction that generally we do it.
Like you're constantly on.
Yeah, just consciously on. So
wow.
It generally happens on that move. So.
And do you get onto the field and work in the farm?
Yes, because initially when we started, we actually started doing all that seedling to everything we were doing.
Okay, you guys did it yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So as the scale increases, now it is more on monitoring, supervision, more on R&D, and more on this now. So now that we also have to fund this cause, right? So we don't have deep pockets to do it. So we use real estate as a source for us to fund this purpose. Okay. So that's why I said Ved Bharat is the main purpose. So now we're taking real estate as a help, because that's where we have more experience, especially me and Prasanna. Okay. So we're getting more from there, and then we wanted to
fund this baby.
Yeah, fund this cause. So because that's where the future is, but that needs a lot of courage. You need to be very heartfully, you should be there. Not that always you cannot look for numbers. So.
Yes, this I think this is the kind of not even profession, segment or sector that I think the higher purpose comes first, and then you work around it to make it happen.
To make it happen, yes. Yeah, so, and then there is always a demand, right? Say today, as I said, world average is about 1.4 to 1.5%. That is organic land that is available.
Oh, that is.
So whereas the whole world is looking for organic food now, right? Especially post pandemic and all that.
Yes, yeah. So, and when a lot of people grow, even the price points of the organic food, can they come down, because not everybody can afford the prices that we pay now for organic food?
Generally, what I see is it has been the passion, or it has been the foods of the rich, right?
Yes.
But anything to start, generally that's where it starts. Okay. But obviously, when there is enough food and all that, obviously the price will come down.
Yes, that's what I
Right.
wanted to
So especially as I said, if there is a high yielding variety which is available,
multi-layered
layer
farming,
farmings
so
and all
other
that.
sources of income. Okay.
Yeah.
What is your take on the Indian concoctions that we make, Panchagavyam or Dashapatra Kashayam? Like, how potent are they? And can this science be taught to many of the farmers?
Yes, lot of now farmers, they wanted to do their own, like say, because it's a direct investment, right? Say otherwise, it is so shocking for a farmer to spend about 26,500 on chemicals for 1 acre.
Oh, that's for 1 acre.
For 1 acre,
That's a lot.
that's a lot. So if he does everything on his own, whatever this Panchagavya, Dashaparnikanai, Jivamrutam, Ghanajivamrutam, all that.
Yeah.
So it is a natural process which they need to just put a 2 to 3 days efforts, that to not full days, like
Full-
1 2
yes,
hours.
Yes.
So, and if they're really able to concentrate on that areas, it will be very good. And this science has to be taught.
Yes.
It's already there.
It is,
We just
yeah.
in the middle, we just
Lost
got
it.
lost somewhere,
We
and
should
now we're
start
coming back.
patenting them also, because I think one fine day someone will take and say, "This is what we found out," and
Yeah.
patent them.
Yeah. So yeah, we should create a paper
for that.
for that, because that all started with world trade, right? So, but this has to be done only in English. You know that, right? So there are only 5 languages. Yeah, no, in order to not to have patent,
Okay.
there has to be a paper in only 5 languages.
Oh.
One of the languages is English, French, German, European. There's 2 languages.
Okay.
And there are 2 more languages, but not Indian languages. None of the Indian languages are actually into the list. So
this is strange.
It is strange, yeah. So we have a lot of science which is there in our scriptures. So which could be a Sanskrit or it could be anything, right? Say. So I think our government, especially now that Mr. Modi and now we are now world 20 leaders. So I think now one important change that we should make is that since Indian agriculture is about 12,000 years old.
Yes.
So we have the books, we have the scriptures. Even in our old scriptures, everything is detailed.
And so, it's also intrinsic within us from so many generations of passing on the knowledge.
Yeah. So how Vedas are taught by listening.
Just listening.
So the agriculture is taught by practice.
Right.
So now the whole families of us now, every origin of us from the agriculture, right? So all of us are related to agriculture.
So Vinay, do you see a connect between spirituality and people who are working in this field? I sometimes feel that they're strongly connected. Someone who's deeply spiritual is only doing conscious work. What is the connect?
I see. There are some people who are activists, so they don't believe in God.
Okay. Spirituality doesn't always means God, but like just cleansing yourself and enhancing your perception, not just thinking about you, but people around you, things around you, other creatures, rocks, trees, soil, everything.
Because one connection I would say, as Mr. Rajnikant says it, if there is a creation, there is a creator.
Yes.
Right? So similarly, what I see, especially somebody who's working on these areas, when they are very close to nature, understanding each dynamics, how the factories, so many factories of nature is working, right?
And complex.
It's so complex.
So complex.
And there are each bird, each creature is doing its own job. It is contributing by its own way to the nature, and it is all a combination.
And never taking more than what it wants.
Yeah. So when somebody observes so close, very closely, if they observe the nature, they will automatically bow down to the mighty or the God, because otherwise this cannot be just done like this.
Yes.
So there's so many things are happening under your foot in the soil, about
Billions.
yeah,
Billions, trillions.
yeah, in the water there are a lot of microorganisms, there are a lot of things. As you grow closer to the nature,
Yeah.
you are bound to be very spiritual,
Right.
respecting every damn thing in nature.
Yes.
And
the magnanimity of it.
yes,
Right.
so it has a direct connection. So somebody who's working on this, obviously they will definitely feel the spirituality in them,
Right.
and they will start respecting each and everything in the nature.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
if that happens, that's the impacting on human life, right? So if somebody is able to come closer to the nature, as that's the purpose of our company. So if you're able to bring in the people close to the nature, either whether it is in the form of farming or getting in the form of natural farming, and then getting into the eco-friendly habitats, so that's when they start enjoying their life.
Yeah.
Because everybody of us now have scale, right? So now we wanted to dictate terms, and we wanted to have our own terms with our own scale and things like that. So when we observe nature, then we really realize, then we are, as Sadhguru says, it's a you are a speck of
Yeah, not even a speck of dust in
dust.
this universe. Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, you don't have a choice but to bow down.
Yeah, there is one tree, like there are a lot of trees and plants are getting extinct now, right?
Yes.
So now when the biologists they started working on how do we now retain this. So one of the stories of Mr. Debal Dev. So there's one tree called Badhu, where there are only 3 trees across the world.
Only 3 left?
Only 3 left.
Poor guys.
And sad part was one was near to the bus stand, which is close to in one part of India.
Okay.
So then he realized this is a very different tree, and he wants to retain that particular tree.
Okay.
And he was working around with multiple things and doing a lot of R&D with its leaves. Whether is it really extinct or not, because world has its own parameters. It should not have. If a tree doesn't exist in about 10,000 square kilometers, that's when they call it as an extinct.
Okay.
So so that's how he started doing a lot of work. After doing a lot of work, one fine day he came to know that the tree was chopped off by the tea shop
stall
owner, because it is coming in the middle.
Oh.
But then what he has done is he could create within his own lab. He took that like how we treat test tube babies. He took all that, and then he realized, and now he's again made the saplings out of them.
Really?
Yeah, and then made them grow. Now they have grown now, and they're able to give the fruits and all that. But from that seeds, whatever the fruits that are now they're coming up, now they're not germinating. You know the reason? It is not germinating because it has to pass through a bird's gut.
Okay.
And the bird is extinct.
That particular bird which eats this fruit is extinct, and that's why the trees are. Oh my God.
Just understand the connection.
This hits you so hard on your.
I felt so bad about it. Yeah. So
yeah, so how connected everything is. This is a biggest example right here.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing this.
There's no other way for that.
Right.
So same thing happened to dinosaurs. Right? Say now all these birds now there are hardly birds, right? Because of the
cell phone towers and urbanization and no trees. Yeah. I think I can talk for hours if I'm left with you like this. But thank you so much for your valuable time, for coming on my show and our show, rather.
Yeah, sure.
And sharing such wonderful things, and that too with so much passion and so much love for everything around. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invite, and it's a privilege for us to be associated with you. And we've also started learning things from others, like say
the entrepreneurs who speak on
one is entrepreneurs, and the other one is even the celebrities. Like say we never knew that Mr. Nagarjuna, there was a tree which was getting chopped off, and then
he
He
saved
he
this.
saved the tree, and then we did not know all these stories,
No,
right?
he's very passionate about even
Yeah,
both Amla Garu and
yeah,
Raj.
Amla Garu, yeah.
Both of them are like plant lovers, and they go to any extent to, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Even
save.
Adavi Seshu and all other
Yeah,
lot of who are celebrities who have come in,
yeah.
the entrepreneurs who are coming up.
I hope
So
they're all inspiring.
they are very inspiring. They're, oh, there's a lot of work happening
Yes,
already, you know.
yes.
So
I'm glad.
so I think it's credit goes to you and Kant about the initiative, and it's very nice. We're happy to be associated.
Thank you. Thank you again. Hope for this association to go a long, long way.
Long way, yes.
I hope you enjoyed this inspiring conversation with Vinay Ram. Please do subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more updates. Signing off, Shilpa Reddy.